Hello and welcome to today's episode of Little Experiments, where we test marketing tactics and spill the beans on what's working and what's not working. Today we're talking about YouTube ads and more specifically whether you can use YouTube ads to scale your YouTube channel. Now, historically, the answer from most people probably would have been no. But from my own experience and because of a new format that's recently been released in the Google Ads interface, I think the times might be changing and the answer might actually be yes. So what am I talking about when I say from my own experience? Well, about a decade ago, I was leading the content team at the language learning app Babbel. And what we used to do with the YouTube channel, every time we had a high performing long form video, we would always put a bit of money behind it in Google Ads in order to increase the reach, which inevitably ended up in more views, but also more subscribers, but also performing at the other end of the funnel. So we would get leads from the videos and customers, and that would justify the investment. And this is a tactic that we were using then, and it's also a tactic that people like Gary Vee have spoken about for a long time. But this isn't necessarily something new. What is new is this new format within the Google Ads interface, and that's really what I want to talk about today. So what is this new format? Well, it's called YouTube subscriptions and engagements. Let's jump over to the Google Ads interface and just take a quick look at how that looks. So here we are within the Google Ads interface, and I'm in the interface for setting up a new campaign. Let's just take this one, create a campaign without guidance. And when you click on that, you'll see all the different options for the kind of campaigns you can set up through Google Ads. So search campaigns, performance max, video, etc. We obviously want to choose video because this is a YouTube campaign. Then we'll have auction and reservation. Let's go for auction. And then you see all the different options of campaign types that you can set up. We'll go through those in a second, but I just want to draw your attention to this one with a nice little new badge just down here. This is the YouTube subscriptions and engagements campaign. But first, if you're new to Google Ads and YouTube campaigns, then you might be asking yourself, great, but what do all these campaign subtypes mean? Well, let's just touch on that quickly, and then we can go and look more specifically again at the YouTube subscriptions and engagements campaign. We have all these different subtypes. We have drive conversions, an ad sequence, and non-skippable reach. But to be honest, those can all be classified pretty easily under these three pillars. So you have the performance campaign subtypes, or subtype really, which is the drive conversions or demand gen campaigns. And this is essentially the campaign that marketers use in order to encourage people to download an app or to create a lead or perhaps purchase something on an e-commerce store. All those very kind of conversion driven campaigns. Then you have the brand formats, and this is the majority of the formats that you have in YouTube ads. So things like non-skippable reach, target frequency, all those things where you're bidding on CPM essentially, and big corporates and brands are using them for their fancy 1 month, 2 month brand flights where they want to reach hundreds of thousands or millions of people. And then you have the pillar that we're interested in, the channel growth pillar, where you have the YouTube subscriptions and engagements campaign subtype. And this is really, as I said before, the first subtype that's been really developed with the intention of helping you grow your channel. And yes, you can use the video views format in order to grow your channel by pushing the organic content that's working well for you, but this wasn't really the original intention of the format. But just before we go and set up one of those campaigns for the YouTube subs, I just want to talk a little bit about placement. So these are the three different placement types that you have typically within a YouTube campaign. You have the in-stream, shorts, and in-feed. In-stream basically relates to the kind of pre-roll ads and the ads that you see that basically interrupt your viewing experience, the most annoying ones. Then you have the shorts ads, and they're the ones that appear between shorts as you're kind of manically scrolling. And then you have the in-feed ads, which are for me the most interesting ones. And these are the ones that appear, for example, on your homepage or whilst you're scrolling through the mobile feed. And these ones just show you the thumbnail, and you as the viewer have to actively click on that to watch it. So just like an organic result, an organic search result, or an organic recommendation, you have to actively choose to watch it. And because of that, you're showing an intent and an interest in the content itself. So let's jump over to the Google Ads interface and let's take a look at what it's like to set up a YouTube subscriptions and engagements campaign. So here we are in the Google Ads interface. We've selected that we want to set up this campaign type. So now we're setting up the campaign. You can see that I've given it the name test campaign. If we scroll down, then you have the YouTube engagement selected here. Here you can set a target cost per action. This basically is a target cost for a subscription. We'll leave this blank for now, and Google will optimize towards a lower price per conversion. And when we have an idea of how much a subscription could cost or should cost, then we can put the target in there. Then we have a daily budget. I'll just set this at €10 for now. And then if we scroll down even further, you can see You have some other targeting options like location and language, devices, and also ad scheduling options and tracking. For now, we'll just leave it empty and move on to the next section, which is to develop the ad groups. So here I have test ad group. Here at this level, you can choose location as well. Let's choose my home nation of the United Kingdom. Language, then let's choose English. And then we can choose which channels we want the ad to show on. So here, as I said, we want to be pretty specific, I think. So we want to get rid of the Google Display Network. We want to get rid of Gmail. We want to get rid of Discover because none of these people are actually going to be on YouTube. And then we want to get rid of YouTube Shorts and YouTube InStream just to leave those lovely YouTube in-feed ads instead. So these are the ones that the user or the viewer is actively going to have to choose. Then we scroll down, we can add an audience. This is a big thing that you should look into. So basically adding demographics or interests or remarketing groups in order that your ad is going to be better targeted. At the moment, we'll leave that empty as well. And then you can leave optimized targeting checked in order to reach more people who could or should be in your audience. And now we're in the ad section. So you can see here, I've called it a test ad. I've added the destination URL as our website, humbleandbrag.com. Go and check it out. And then we need to choose a video. So let's take a video from our videos. And it should render an example. And then we scroll down further. I don't want it to show any variations of that video. Don't want any AI shenanigans here. Then let's just choose, funnily enough, the AI shenanigans. So it's giving me a few example texts that we could use in the ad just for the purpose of showing you what it looks like. You'll get auto suggestions from Google's side, but you can obviously add anything that you would like manually. And then you have the option to add the call to action text. You can select potentially different calls to action here as well. And the business name, let's put that in. And for now, you'll see what this looks like on mobile and on desktop. You see the example ad on the homepage in the top left hand here. Here you can have your title. Let's give that a more interesting title, like how to grow your YouTube channel in 1 day. And you'll see it appearing here in the top left as an example. So you can already see how this could be pretty effective in driving views and potentially subscriptions to your channel as well. And then once you've done all of that, you go to review and your ad will launch, hopefully pretty quickly. So you can imagine how this format can really help your channel grow. There you have it, an overview of the latest format in Google Ads that you can use to support your channel's growth. Now, just to give you a few ideas or a few benchmarks of how much you could expect to pay for video views and for new subscriptions, I pulled a couple of numbers and averages from our own campaigns and also from some client campaigns. Now, for video views, you can also dive over to our Google Ads interface. On average, we'd expect to pay perhaps a couple of cents. And so here you can imagine just how many thousands of views you could get just for a couple of €100. And you can imagine how maybe if you have a really high performing piece of organic content, just how little you would pay and how much more reach you would get just by putting a bit of money behind it. And then if we look at the subs and engagement campaign, well, we're seeing like 60 cents or so per new subscription. And if you're a startup or a fairly established company, you spend €6,000 or so, you'll get those first 10,000 subs. This could be something that, if you have the budget, is actually worth trying. So just to wrap up, let's talk about the reasons why you might want to run ads to support your channel growth. There's the ones that we've discussed, like growing your subscriber base and promoting your performant videos. But it's also perhaps interesting to know that the watch times on the videos really aren't that bad from our experience. You're seeing 2-minute watch times where organically they might get 5 or 6 minutes. If you compare that to other channels like Meta, I mean, the watch times on the ads on average there are more like 6 seconds. So you're getting a lot more time with the viewer. Then also it helps you test more quickly. You get way more impressions typically on your ads than on your organic content. So very quickly you can test different titles and you can test different thumbnails. You can see what works and you can roll that over to your channel as well. So this mixture of greater performance and the greater ability to test, maybe that's just enough to convince you to try testing YouTube ads. That brings us to the end of the video. If you learned something new, hit the like button and give us a subscribe, and I will see you next time.